I held my child close, my heart heavy with both gratitude and dread. My little one had once been ailing, on the verge of losing their fragile life. But then, in a twist of fate, a donor child's kidney became their lifeline. The decision of grieving parents to give their own child's organ had granted my baby a second chance. As the years went by, I thought the worst was behind us. But now, as my child turned 2, a chilling phenomenon unfolded before my eyes. It started innocently enough, with my child pointing at empty spaces around the house, claiming to see a child there. At first, I brushed it off, as imagination running wild, a product of an active toddler's mind. But as time went on, the encounters grew more frequent, and a sinister unease settled upon our lives. My child's innocent proclamations became relentless, their little finger stretching towards unseen figures, exclaiming, "There is a child." I tried to dismiss it as a game, a harmless fantasy. But deep down, an unshakable fear gripped me. Desperate for answers, I sought solace in experts. Spiritual guides, psychologists, and doctors all tried to explain this inexplicable connection my child seemed to have with the spirit world. Yet, their explanations fell short, leaving me even more frightened and uncertain. One evening, I watched from the window as my child swung on the swing set, laughter mingling with the twilight air. Suddenly, he pointed to an empty swing beside him, his eyes sparkling with joy. My heart lurched in my chest as he gleefully declared, "There is a child swinging with me." The fear I had kept buried surged to the surface, threatening to drown me. What was happening? Was my child truly seeing the ghost of the donor child who had passed away? Or was it something more sinister, an evil force preying upon our vulnerable state? Unable to bear the weight of my anxiety any longer, I resolved to confront the darkness head-on. I transformed the black spaces my child had pointed to into a memorial, filled with photographs, toys, and reminders of the child who had given them life. It became a shrine to honor the donor child's memory, but also a desperate plea for protection. As we gathered around this sacred space, sharing stories and memories, I began to feel a sense of peace mingling with my trepidation. Maybe, just maybe, this ethereal presence was a sign, a way for my child to maintain a connection with their lifesaver, to honor the sacrifice made on their behalf. But the nights remained restless, filled with unsettling whispers and fleeting shadows. My child's innocent conversations with the unseen child became more intense, as if the line between this world and the next was blurring. I clung to hope, to the belief that our love and gratitude could shield us from whatever darkness threatened to consume us. I made a difficult decision. Fearing the unknown and unable to bear the weight of the haunting presence any longer, I chose to leave our house behind. We moved to a new place, hoping for a fresh start, a chance to leave the eerie encounters behind us. For a while, it seemed like we had succeeded. Our new home felt peaceful, devoid of the unsettling energy that had plagued us before. We settled into a routine, cherishing the ordinary moments of family life. I convinced myself that we had finally escaped the clutches of the supernatural. But one fateful night, I awoke to a chilling sight. Moonlight spilled into the room, illuminating my child, levitating in midair. Frozen with terror, I tried to scream, but my voice caught in my throat. Paralyzed with fear, I could only watch in silent horror as my child hovered, suspended by an unseen force. Overwhelmed by the inexplicable, My mind could not process the sight before me. It was as if the boundary between the living and the spirit world had shattered, thrusting us into a realm of terrifying possibilities. In that moment, terror gripped me so tightly that consciousness slipped away. I regained consciousness, but the passage of time remained a mystery. My vision was blurry at first, but as the fog lifted, there they stood before me, my son and the ghostly kidney donor girl. For the first time ever, I laid my eyes on her. Her face was hauntingly beautiful, with scary eyes as dark as the night sky, and long, flowing black hair cascading over her ethereal form. Her delicate features bore an expression of sorrow and anguish, and black tears streamed down her cheeks, leaving an indelible mark of despair. Fear engulfed me as I desperately reached out to grab my son. But something was terribly wrong. His eyes were vacant, a disturbing whiteness, replacing the vibrant color I had come to know. He mumbled words I couldn't comprehend, and in an instant, they vanished into thin air, leaving me wailing out loud in anguish. The night stretched on, seemingly endless, as I sobbed uncontrollably. It was the longest and most heart-wrenching night of my entire life. The terror and helplessness I felt were overwhelming, as if darkness itself had descended upon us. Eventually, I mustered the courage to call my mother, and she rushed to my side with a priest in tow. They performed rituals to cleanse our house, but despite their efforts, my son remained in this bewildering state. Fearing to stay alone, I moved in with my mother, praying for some respite from the nightmare that had engulfed us. Weeks passed, and as exhaustion finally overtook me after hours of sobbing, sleep took me into another realm. In my dreams, I saw my son on the other side, where darkness reigned, sobbing and calling my name in a terrified voice. I desperately tried to reach him, to bring him back, but my efforts were futile, and he remained beyond my grasp. This torment continued for what felt like an eternity. Today, the priest returned, this time accompanied by 2 other holy men. A glimmer of hope sparked within me that this could be the day my son comes back home. If he returns, my first priority will be to break the soul tie that binds him to the ghostly donor girl. I'll seek answers and guidance from the priests, and with their help, find a way to return Kidney to its rightful place. I can't bear to see my son trapped in this nightmarish existence any longer. As I sit here, awaiting his arrival, my heart is heavy with uncertainty, but I cling to hope, believing that love, faith, and the strength of the human spirit can conquer even the most haunting of mysteries.